When I click on it, you'll see that you get a true or false over here. And if I click on, see if I can find one here, a date field, we'll get a standard date selector come up. I can pick that. You'll notice our date selector has changed slightly. And I'll say I'd like to have the 13th of April. And as part of a single date selector in PIMS-SQL, we also have days to add or subtract. Let's say it defaulted to today's date. And I would like something 2 weeks from now. I can enter a 14. It'll add it to here. If I were to enter a negative 14, then it would subtract it. I'll just go ahead and hit OK, and it goes ahead and throws the date in for us. If I want to remove a line, obviously I hit Remove Line. Also, we have some macros. Let's say that we were doing a search for a create date of inventory. Now, normally you would say the create date is greater than or equal to and a date, and then the ending date is less than or equal to date, and that's how you do your date range. Well, we have a little macro here. I click it, and we pick our date range. Let's go ahead and pick that. So we've got a 5-day date range. When I hit OK, it'll automatically put that in for you. And then we just have to pick our field. Let's go ahead and pick create date and create date. So it'll automatically put that date range in for you. It says date range macro right now. Might turn this into a little pop menu that comes down with a bunch of different macros, but I think for now we'll just leave it at this. Once you've entered a search, you can save it as a template. I'll call this test search. Bring this over here where you can see it. It just prompts you for a name. Now what's different is with our search editor, this saves it in the data file. So this is available to everyone. If I hit Load Template, we simply pick from a list of templates that we've saved. And the ones that we save for the inventory, that's the only list you'll get here of saved templates would be for inventory. If we did this for customers, you'll get a saved one for customers. I choose it, hit Continue, and it would load it in here. Now then, for those of you that are familiar with SQL, we have an SQL search. And that bypasses everything else here. Anywhere in the program that you see anything with the word SQL in it, you have to belong to a special password group. If you don't, this won't even show. But I could say, well, here, let me start from scratch. I could come up here, Search Editor, SQL. I want to find everything where the price is less than the book cost. And you have to spell it, and it's case sensitive because it's SQL, you have to spell it exactly the way the fields are represented here. Bring it over where you can see it. I type price is less than book cost. I hit OK, and here it brings up 2 records whose price is less than the book cost. A very fast search. And that's pretty much it for the search editor. And you'll find these all throughout PIMS-SQL. Another feature I'd like to show you has to do with an additional search now up at the top of a lot of the popular lists in PIMS-SQL. And we've got them primarily in customer and inventory right now, and we'll be adding them to others here very shortly. I simply click in here, and I can type, let's say, the word plum. And as I type, it will simply show anything whose product name contains plum. If I cancel it, I'll go back to my original list. And again, I could type in 300, and you'll notice the list changes as I go. I could type in the word speed, and so on. And again, you'll see this in inventory, customers, and the like. Another feature in this beta is PIMS Tools. This will go ahead and bring up the system utilities. This is where the master applicator is now. This is where your assigned password groups are. You can restart the client. A variety of different things. And for those of you with client server, you can pull up from the client itself, if your password allows you to. Server administration, basically you can see the server screen, see what's going on, a variety of things you can do there. There's a maintenance center. There is no such thing as 4D tools anymore. All of that is built in. You can do repair, restore, compact, backup. You can verify your records. A whole bunch of things that we won't go into right now that you can do from either a single user and or a client. Again, passwording permitted. And for those of you using the single user, you can open another data file. Like for those of you doing beta testing, you can play around in our sample data file, but then I strongly encourage you to open up one of your existing PIMS-X data files. And upon doing so, you will see it convert and open up right away. For instance, we can convert a 4 gigabyte 2-segment data file in less than an hour. Our little sample data file here converted in less than a minute. There is no migration like previously going from PIMS Classic to PIMS-X. We had to run a separate program and convert the data file. This is all automatic. It will open it up and you can start using it, and it will restart the program and everything. This works for both single user and client server, but only the single user has open another data file. So again, I strongly recommend you use your own data files to do some testing with. Okay, because of the enormous speed of the SQL data structure that we use now, things that used to take minutes to search for now take less than a second. And we've tested the data file with this version of PIMS with hundreds of thousands of records, and we find things instantaneously. And because of that increase in speed, let's go to PIMS Preferences. And you'll recognize this. We have a couple of things. Perform keyword search on name fields. And also perform keyword search on the order description field. In previous PIMS, when you got up to a few 100,000 records or millions of records, often you would turn these off to save speed, especially in client server. In this version, you can go ahead and have them checked, because it is so incredibly fast. For instance, we pull up an order, and I'll go to the build to name, and remember we have Anderson Hardware. Just type hard, and it'll bring up Anderson Hardware. It came up instantly. This is our small sample data file, but if you had a couple of 100,000 records, it would come up basically the same speed. So that's real handy for looking things up. So at least initially, turn those on. If it seems to work fine for everybody, we'll actually take that option out so that it always does keyword search here. But I strongly recommend you turn it on, especially when you test with your own data file. And the same holds true for line items. I'll just say, I know it has the word plum, and it'll pull it up instantly. Or I could say the word computer. It basically does a start, or I don't even have to type it all out. I could say compute, and it'll bring up anything where the word